Imagine if well-being was the framework around which our schools were built. Imagine if education focused on nurturing the whole child. Imagine if teachers were given autonomy to grow and learn together with their students. Imagine if daydreaming was part of the national curriculum. Imagine if imagination was a significant part of every class. Imagine if schools focused on collaboration, creativity and connection rather than on competition, separation and stress. Imagine if learning in schools focused on making sense of the world around us. Imagine if education helped us develop healthy relationships with ourselves, with others and with the natural world. Imagine if lessons had scope for students to have meaningful conversations about the world they're living in. Imagine if school helped young people to question the world around them and learn together about their own thoughts and feelings, their emotions, their values and capacities. Imagine if our uniqueness was warmly welcomed into every single class we took. Imagine if education was allowing us to thrive in the world. It feels that these questions that they're so common sense. Why wouldn't we want this? Why wouldn't we want our children to flourish? Why wouldn't we want young people to grow up in the world, able to navigate and thrive within the systems in which they live? And yet we recognize so much of what's broken in our systems. But these imagination spaces are really powerful places to help young people to flourish. Imagine if we focused on the butterflies rather than the caterpillars. Now, I often talk about the butterfly to caterpillar effect of school, where we see children at a young age, they're starting off school, they're rushing into that playground, desperate to learn, and they're hopping from flower to flower and sucking up as much pollen with enthusiasm and excitement as they can possibly get, because learning is so vitalizing and learning is so energizing, and children learn with their whole being. They learn with their heads, their hands, and their hearts. And yet, as children navigate up through the education system, we start to see this cocooning, this slowness, this sluggishness that comes into their navigation of learning, because they're told to sit down, they're told to be quiet, they're told to listen and not speak, they're told to decompartmentalize their learning into segregated chunks. They're told often that their point of view isn't relevant because the answer is this, and however we get to it, it doesn't matter because that's the answer. They're told that learning is not necessarily for life. Learning is to get a good job and a good wage and to follow the system. And it stops meaning something. Children stop running into the playground when they turn teenagers. There's many reasons they stop running at teenagers, but there's no reason why they shouldn't feel so energized by their learning because it flourishes their own well-being. And yet we know it doesn't. We know that learning actually causes the opposite. It causes mental health pandemics. So imagine if we were bold in these spaces. Imagine if we created courageous classrooms where children were allowed to flourish, where children learned together in navigating a changing world around them and supported their growth with creativity and courage. Imagine if we were bold enough to let that happen. What sort of education could that be? I look forward to seeing it.